Welcome back, everyone, to Sip and Talk.
Great to be back.
So today we're looking at a really weird combination of things happening, hypothetically, in 2025. It's like a global split screen.
It really is. On one side, you've got this huge, almost unbelievable diplomatic breakthrough.
Right, monumental.
And then at the exact same time, back in the U.S., the government is literally shut down, closed.
While Wall Street is just like booming. It makes no sense.
So our mission today for Sip and Talk is kind of connecting those dots. How did this massive political surprise happen, this Middle East deal?
Yeah, how did President Trump pull that off? And maybe more confusingly, why are investors throwing a party while Washington, D.C. is basically locked in chaos?
Should you be panicked or, I don't know, relaxed about the market?
Let's start with the peace news first, because honestly, it's pretty jaw-dropping. It sets a really strange backdrop for everything else.
Agreed. We're talking about a major development in the Middle East conflict, almost 2 years after the October 7th attack.
And the core news is what exactly?
It's a huge concession. Hamas has apparently agreed to release all the hostages.
All of them. Alive, and sadly, those deceased.
Yes, everyone captured on October 7th. It's not some small part of a deal. It sounds like a total commitment to an exchange.
Okay, but how? I mean, concessions like that don't just happen, right? Especially after so much conflict.
No, they don't. The reporting points pretty directly to President Trump's involvement, specifically an ultimatum.
An ultimatum. Tell me more.
Well, after his Gaza ceasefire plan was presented, he apparently set a very firm deadline. Sunday, 6 p.m.
Okay.
Accept the plan or face. And I think the reported words were unprecedented hell.
Wow. That's direct high-pressure stuff.
Very. And apparently it worked. It worked fast.
It certainly sounds effective for the immediate goal. You do have to wonder about the, long-term feel of negotiating like that with open threats. But okay, results are results. What's phase one look like?
So the confirmation came through, laying out the first steps. Hamas confirmed they'd release the remaining 48 hostages.
And about 20 of those are thought to still be alive.
Roughly, yes. The condition: Israel has to fully withdraw from Gaza.
And in return?
Israel gets ready for an immediate 72-hour exchange. We're talking 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences, plus another 1,700 detained during the conflict.
That is a massive number of people being exchanged.
That really is.
But the part that really changes things, the part that sort of redraws the map politically, that's the other concession Hamas made, right?
Exactly. It's not just about the prisoners. They agreed to give up control of Gaza.
After nearly 20 years.
Yes. Handing over management to an institution of independent technocrats.
That's not just a compromise. That feels like a complete turnaround.
It's a fundamental shift for them.
Yeah.
And you can even see the pressure in their official statements. Analysts pointed out Hamas released this statement, highly praising the United States.
Praising the U.S. seriously?
Yes, for helping make the ceasefire happen.
Yeah.
That's pretty much unheard of in the history of this conflict.
So what forced their hand? Was it just the ultimatum?
It seems like a combination. The reporting suggests their military leadership really resisted at first.
Naturally.
But continuous Israeli military pressure, plus U.S. security guarantees for the mediating countries, like Qatar, it all pushed them into what's being called a conditional acceptance, like a yes, but, under serious duress.
Okay, so let's assume this deal actually holds. What does it mean for everyone else? Beyond the immediate relief, what are the global ripples?
Well, first, obviously the humanitarian side is critical. The deal requires aid corridors to open within 24 hours.
To stop the potential famine we were hearing about.
Exactly, that's priority one. But globally, the impact could be massive. If this major conflict gets resolved, you'd expect global oil prices to stabilize.
We've already seen a bit of a dip, haven't we?
We have. And strategically, think about it. This frees up huge amounts of U.S. diplomatic attention security resources.
Which could then potentially be used elsewhere, like maybe speeding up efforts on the Russia-Ukraine situation.
That's the anticipation, yes. Aggressively accelerate that.
The knock-on effects are potentially huge. And then there's the political side. You can't ignore the Nobel Prize talk, can you?
No, it's definitely buzzing. This kind of breakthrough, it positions President Trump very strongly for Nobel consideration. It's being called the biggest diplomatic win of his administration.
Have there been actual nominations?
Reporting suggests yes, that Norway's Nobel Committee has already received several official nominations just based on this deal.
Okay. Wow. Deep breath time. We just talked about potentially era-defining global peace.
Right.
Now, let's pivot completely to the total opposite. American government gridlock. Why is Washington shut down?
And it's not just shut down. It's entering its 4th day as we record this.
And Congress, didn't they just leave town?
They packed their bags.
Yeah.
Sent home until October 13th. Which feels like a deliberate move, right? To crank up the pressure on the Senate.
It definitely feels like legislative hardball. So what's the actual fight about this time? Feels familiar, but maybe worse?
It's about the CR, the continuing resolution. That temporary funding bill they need to keep the lights on.
Okay.
Democrats are digging in. They're saying they need commitments on ACA subsidies, Affordable Care Act insurance subsidies before they'll vote yes.
And the Republicans.
They're saying, look, we're offering a clean CR, no policy strings attached. They're accusing Democrats of basically holding the government hostage for their own political agenda.
Same old song, just louder, maybe. And the White House isn't just sitting back, right? They seem to be actively pushing.
Oh, very actively. And the tactics are pretty aggressive, targeting specific opponents, specific projects.
Like what?
Well, you've got the OMB director, Russell Vought, nicknamed the Grim Reaper by the administration itself.
Grim Reaper.
He's barely targeting funds.
Yeah.
Already cut $18 billion meant for infrastructure in New York City.
Why NYC?
The stated reason is the city's DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring policies. Democrats, of course, are calling it straight-up political retaliation against a blue state.
And the official White House messaging, is it trying to mediate or?
Not really mediating, no. It's about assigning blame, very publicly, using official government phone lines, websites.
To say what?
To blame, and I quote, radical left Democrats for the shutdown, claiming they care more about funding healthcare for illegal immigrants than keeping the government open.
That's inflammatory.
Extremely. And beyond that, they're floating the threat of permanent layoffs.
Layoffs for federal workers.
Potentially up to 300,000 jobs. Framing it as a financial necessity if the shutdown drags on. The takeaway seems to be maximum political pressure, even if it means instability for federal employees right now.
So for you listening, what does this actually mean right now? What are the real-world impacts today beyond the D.C. drama?
Well, the big one is uncertainty and missing data. The September jobs report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, delayed.
Which markets hate, right? Flying blind.
Exactly. Creates jitters. Critical services, like air traffic control, are still running safety first. But the controllers aren't getting paid.
That can't last forever without problems. Delays.
The risk of delays goes up every day, yes. Federal aid programs like SNAP Food Assistance, WIC, they're funded, but only through the end of October.
So the clock is ticking there, too.
It is. Even places like the Smithsonian museums are using emergency funds just to stay open until around October 11th.
Okay, this sets up the big paradox perfectly. You've got this amazing peace deal signaling global stability. Then you've got D.C. in total dysfunction.
Right.
And yet, the stock market, the S&P 500 is over 7,000. 5 straight days of huge gains. What is going on? Why the disconnect?
It seems to be this theory of an uncontrollable flood of money just pouring in, driven by, well, momentum and maybe some selective vision.
Selective vision.
Yeah, the market seems totally focused on two things. The AI craze just keeps going.
The frenzy continues.
Right. And this strong belief, this anticipation that the Federal Reserve is going to start cutting interest rates soon, significantly, investors are basically looking right past the shutdown noise.
But wait, didn't we hear that something like only 7 stocks, the Magnificent Seven, are responsible for like 36% of the S&P 500's weight?
That's correct.
Doesn't that kind of scream bubble regardless of what the Fed might do?
It definitely raises some serious red flags. You know, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, those big names.
Yeah.
Their gains this year are over 60%. They're pulling the whole index up.
So investors just think the shutdown is, what, a blip?
Pretty much. They seem to be treating it like, you know, a historical footnote, something that always gets resolved, causes a little bump, but nothing major. They're essentially betting that tech growth is stronger than Washington's dysfunction.
Okay, but there has to be a flip side. This can't just go up forever, especially with D.C. acting like this. What about the warnings? Are people saying bubble?
Oh, yes. Very loudly, and with numbers to back it up. Economist David Rosenberg, who's pretty well respected, is warning the S&P 500 is in a giant price bubble.
How big a risk?
He's putting the odds of a serious crash at 40%, which is chillingly high.
What metrics are they pointing to for those of us not watching P/E ratios daily?
Well, that P/E ratio, price to earnings, is a big one. It's over 25 times earnings for the S&P. That means prices are way ahead of actual company profits.
Betting on future growth that might not show up.
Exactly. Betting on growth that hasn't happened yet. Plus, you're seeing signs of consumer spending softening a bit. That adds to the worry.
So if it is a bubble, What could pop it? What's the potential trigger analysts are watching? Some are saying it could be worse than the dot-com crash in 2000.
The big flashing light right now is that delayed September jobs report.
Ah, the one held up by the shutdown.
Precisely. Job growth was already slowing down. The forecast was already pretty weak, maybe only 22,000 new jobs.
Which is tiny.
Very small. So if that report eventually comes out and the actual number is really bad, significantly weaker than expected, that single piece of data could inject real fear.
Because it punctures the growth story.
Yes. You combine those sky-high valuations with suddenly weak economic facts on the ground. The fear that this whole AI boom isn't sustainable could spread like wildfire and trigger a major correction.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Globally, diplomacy pulls off a miracle. Domestically, politics implodes.
Complete contrasts.
And the economy is either surfing this incredible tech wave, or maybe just standing at the edge of a cliff, closing its eyes and hoping for the best, trusting optimism over political reality.
That really is the picture painted by everything you've looked at today. You have soaring international cooperation driven by decisive, if aggressive, action.
Right.
While the U.S. domestic scene is just paralyzed by these deep ideological battles. And the market, it's just choosing to believe in the AI future more than it fears the Washington present.
All right, here's a final thought then, something for you to chew on. With all this political craziness, the threats, the shutdown, the name-calling, is the market actually looking at real economic fundamentals anymore?
Good question.
Or is it just making a massive bet? A bet that Washington's chaos is actually so predictable, so normal now, that the promise of global stability from this Middle East peace deal is actually the stronger, more reliable economic force than whatever temporary budget deal Congress eventually spits out.
That's definitely something to ponder as you think about your next steps, investment-wise or otherwise.
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us for this pretty mind-bending Sip and Talk. If you enjoyed it, please do subscribe, leave us a review. It helps others find the show.
And yeah, quick shout out to our old pal Mickey. Check out his YouTube channel, Mickytolife. We keep hearing those wine videos are about to drop any day now.
Still holding out for that travel vlog, Mickey. Just saying. But hey, we'll take the wine video.
We will. And just before we go, we need to be crystal clear. This discussion was based on modeling a hypothetical future scenario using various reports. Our goal is only to offer objective facts and analysis for your critical thinking.
Absolutely. We don't endorse or criticize any specific political viewpoint or party mentioned here today. Just trying to make sense of it all.
Until next time.